full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click on the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now. Get your double deposit bonus with promo code 1010XL, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's hit the high school football scene on XL Primetime. Brought to you by Gatorade Water. All-day hydration for today's top athletes. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie.
Definitely appreciate Gatorade Water. You can take advantage by downloading that Winn-Dixie app and save every time you pick up Gatorade. We always recognize the Gatorade Player of the Week, and we say thanks to I9 Sports as well. We'll tell you what they've got cooking as far as their spring and winter registration is concerned. But right now, let's say hello to our man from Channel 4, Justin Barney. Jay Barn.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love talking football, and we're almost to the Thanksgiving break, and that's when you know you've done something. You're still practicing on Thanksgiving morning.
That really is the essence of it, and I wanted to go through everything because I feel like I try and tear through it, Jay Barn. I don't give it enough due like you do, so let's do it with at least starting with the big games from this past week, either a surprising win or the big victories that these teams now are moving on.
Yeah, I think the biggest win last week was the Oakleaf over Mandarin. That was basically our game of the week last week, and probably a lot of other people's games of the week. And Mandarin had shut Oakleaf down in the regular season, I believe like an 18-7 win, and then Oakleaf repaid the favor last week in the first round with a 17-14 win. Mandarin missed a potential tying field goal and also had a touchdown run called back to an illegal procedure that would have won them the game. So Oakleaf dodges a bullet. Mandarin falls in the first round. Mustangs last year played for a state championship, but it's Oakleaf that's moving on, and they move into a big collision with Nice, the number 1 team in the entire state, at Nice tomorrow night.
So, Justin, White has had a terrific season. Do they have enough? Can they handle St. Augustine? Can it continue this season?
It's been a great season for Ed White. I didn't think they were going to win last week. To their credit, this is a young team. This is a really young team for Lawrence Johnson. Their leading rusher is a freshman, sophomore quarterback, junior receiver. A lot of young kids playing in big-time roles, and a lot of them starting for the first time. And they have really done well from week 1 on. They had a 21-18 loss to Trinity Christian in week 1. They've been in every single game of the year. They're 8-3. Their last playoff win was all the way back in 2014 over a St. Augustine team. So great year for Lawrence Johnson and getting those young guys to buy in and play big roles. I think Friday night maybe a little bit too much for them to bite off and chew because St. Augustine's a veteran team, tough offense, and I think St. Augustine probably has the edge in that one, but still would not be totally surprised to see Ed White keep their dream season going on, but I do think St. Augustine's offensive firepower, and they played for a state championship last year, will be a little bit too much for the Commanders on Friday night. But, hey, stranger things have happened.
Talking with Justin Barney. You can definitely check him out on X at Justin Barney TV, and then newsforjacks.com/sports. You can see all their coverage, and he's with us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. When you talk about these big games, Raines had that perfect season, able to take care of business. This is a big ball game against Wakulla, no question.
Yeah, and they've got playoff history too. Wakulla's knocked Raines off a couple times in Coach Donovan Maslin's tenure. Raines is 10-0 for the first time since 1997, and by the way, they went 15-0 and won a state championship all the way back the last time they had an unbeaten year at this point in the season. So I think Raines has got this one circled on the calendar, even though their classification is really thinned out. You have Miami Central get knocked out of the playoffs due to using ineligible players. So I do think Raines is probably the state championship favorite right now in its classification, but you cannot overlook games like this against a team like Wakulla, which has had Raines number before. And if you win that game, you're going to face either Bishop Kenny or Tallahassee Godby. So I do think a big one awaits Raines, but I think they are just too good really for this entire region. I think the Vikings cruise on Friday night and cruise again next week.
Justin, a little bit outside the city, just a phenomenal game in Bradford County. Newberry and Bradford, the rematch. What do you expect there?
Yeah, and I talked to Jamie Rogers a few weeks ago and asked him about that, and he said, man, Newberry is tough. And, and the first time those two teams played, and I believe it was a 21-7 Newberry win, they had 7 sacks in that game. Newberry's defensive line guys are just absolute monsters, have a pair of like 270-pound defensive tackles, and they are just monsters. And, this is kind of Bradford's MO. I mean, they're the ones that play the great defense. They're the ones that have such that success. They've been a Final Four team 2 years ago, state championship program game last year and lost to Cocoa. So this is kind of different for Bradford. They're going to have to find a way to get around that Newberry defense. Newberry is just so good up front, and it all starts there. And for Bradford, which is not really a strong offensive team anyway, they're going to have to find out how to scratch off some yardage and put some balls across the goal line, because Newberry, they're going to bring it. They had like 10 tackles for loss last game, 7 sacks. So you got to find a way to keep those big monsters in Newberry out of the backfield.
Couple more for Justin Barney. Let's hit those games that we will have right here on 1010XL or 92.5 FM before our Friday Night Light scoreboard show with Hack and Gibby. Bishop Kenny on the road at Godby, and then you've got Walton coming in to play Bowles. Those are big, big ball games.
Yeah, and talking about Bowles first, really fortunate for them that Pensacola Catholic was upset by Walton last week. Otherwise, Bowles would be taking a panhandle trip this week as well. So a little fortuitous victory last week for Walton, upsetting the number 2 seed in Pensacola Catholic. So Bowles gets a chance to stay home. And I like Bowles. Matt Toblin has never missed a state semifinals. They'll likely get Gadsden County next week. But I like that they've got a lot of their guys healthy and back. And Emmett Gresbin is back running the ball now. That's like a 3-pronged rushing attack instead of a 2. So I like Bowles kind of ushering in its banged up guys. Naeem Burrows is back. Chase Collier is back. Gresbin is back. So that's a big plus for Bowles. And then Bishop Kenny, they have played so well this year. Derek Heidemann had a 6-touchdown game last week. Caleb Madison running the ball well. J.P. Donovan coming off a 3-touchdown game, receiving wise. So I don't think Bishop Kenny is. I know people look at the seeds and the matchups and the history, and Godby certainly has that over Bishop Kenny. But I do think with the way Bishop Kenny is playing and how Tim Krause has those guys really believing in themselves, I do think Bishop Kenny can get a win on the road. Maybe set up that all local regional final next week against Raines. But Godby is a tough team for sure.
So, Justin, you were speaking earlier about the kind of the fun, magical season there at White. Fleming Island, kind of similar. They got to go out to the Big Bend, play Lincoln. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, and great job by Derek Cipoletti, and he took over really a team that was on a little bit of turmoil. Head coach resigned unexpectedly, or really in some issues out there right before the season started. So he kind of got thrust in the situation. He's an interim head coach. He was the defensive coordinator. He works in the private sector. So for him to actually, when they approached him, accept that job, that was a tough thing for him. He'd taken a pay cut basically to go coach high school football from his regular job, but he said he did it because he believed in the kids and what they had to offer. He wanted those guys to have good leadership and guidance, give, especially the seniors, season to remember, and they have done just that. He's got them playing deep into the postseason. They've not been past this round too often in program history, and they may have one of the best quarterbacks in the area in Sebastian Broughton. He just passed 100 career touchdowns last week for his years, and Fleming Island has been a 4-year starter for the Golden Eagles. And I think Fleming Island has got 3 of the best players in the area, and Sebastian, Demir Jackson at running back, and then wide receiver Trace Burney. I think they have been a great story this year, and I'm picking them again to go on the road and get a win against Lincoln.
All right, so if you're naming it as we wrap it up, because Ponte Vedra's had a great year, Nice unbeaten year, Reigns, we already mentioned them. Who do you think plays on? Who do you think is at the biggest risk of maybe not being able to see next week?
I think Ponte Vedra's probably at a big risk. I think Nice moves on. I think Fleming moves on. St. Aug over White. Reigns bigger over Kula. I think Bishop Kenny beats Godby in a close one. Bowles over Walton. I think Bradford's season probably comes to an end in a low-scoring game. UC over Providence. I think that's going to be a good one, back-and-forth type of game. I think Trinity Christian beats McClay, and we see a UC Trinity game next week. And I think we got 2 good ones in the rural classification. Union County and Fort White both playing. I think Union County beats Pahokee, and I think Williston probably beats Fort White. So I think we'll have a handful of local teams playing on after Thanksgiving next week.
I love it, man. We appreciate your time. You can definitely follow Justin Barney at Justin Barney TV on X and then newsforjacks.com/sports. Thanks, bro. We appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Thanks.
All right. And honestly, if you add them all up right now, there's a bunch that are still playing for it. We'll see how it ultimately goes. Thanks to Gatorade Water, fully supporting the high school athletes on the First Coast, proven fuel, and you can definitely check them out at Winn-Dixie. Download the Winn-Dixie app and save when you go out and purchase your Gatorade. And then also i9sports.com. We always tell you ages 3 to 17, they have got it set up. Clay, St. John's, Duval, and you're looking at winter and spring registration taking place right now. Duval Charter Bay Meadows is where they have set it up, introducing all-girls volleyball, all-girls flag at Nocatee, along with flag soccer, t-ball, and basketball for boys and girls. Log on, i9sports.com.
The XL Primetime High School Hit. Brought to you by i9 Sports. Log on to i9sports.com and get your kid in the game.
Loving the city teams.
Yeah.
Advance.
Yeah.
Like 2 left.
Just
White and Reigns.
Yeah, and White, like
city
he
public
said,
school team, sorry.
But like you said, Coach Law, because you do have, and you can go SJC, and they're also the city schools with Ponte Vedra
right.
And Nice. But
right.
yeah, but when we're talking about Duval and having Reigns get back to where they were back in the late 90s, and they really did kick out some big-time talent, and Donovan McClain definitely has some talent over there on Moncrief, so it'll be fun to see if they're able to keep it going. Jay Barn thinks they've got a great chance. They had the perfect record. They came through the first week. Now they've got Wakulla coming in, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling. It would be nice for them, that's for sure.
It'd be a fun game, too. So that would be Reigns and Bishop Kenny. Bishop Kenny wins, right?
Yeah, so Bishop Kenny, and you heard what Justin said, just as far as the chances of BK to play on, Bowles to play on, Trinity to play on. University is a 6-5 club, but that's because they played a lot of bigs.
Right.
And they're going up against Mo Williams' Providence Stallions. So it'll be fun. It's XL Primetime. We wrap hours up. We get ready for the Francis Show coming up at 4 o'clock.
Buckle up. You're in the First Coast Honda Dealer Studios with XL Primetime on 1010XL. Find your new Honda at your 8 local Honda dealers.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? But what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin that ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tad that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Visit BlueChew.com. 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChe
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, monster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay. Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 21st, 1977, Baltimore Orioles first baseman, future Baseball Hall of Famer Eddie Murray wins the American League Rookie of the Year award.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, save 20% on your entire project. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Pick it here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Hey, John, are you ready to cruise into the holidays in style?
Absolutely. The King of Price has incredible offers that you won't want to miss.
That's right. Buy a brand new 2024 Escalade and receive a $3,000 rebate.
Or if leasing is more your style, you can choose a 2024 Escalade or a 2025 Lyric and receive a $1,000 rebate.
It's the perfect time to upgrade your ride and make this holiday season unforgettable.
Visit us at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated on the situation here in Jacksonville.
Not great feel in that building, not great culture in that building. And I think you're seeing that in the way they're going through the motions now on the field. So that organization needs blown up, and that organization needs a completely fresh start where they're not carrying over one person and letting go of another person. And really, if you look at it, Shad Khan hasn't done this since going back to David Caldwell and Gus Bradley coming in there in 2013. It is time to blow the whole thing up in Jacksonville. Sunday's game in Detroit certainly showed that.
Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated on the Jaguars. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, my takeaway is something that Leon kind of hinted at earlier in the show. And at some point, we're going to have to get into this because at some point it might become a reality. 3 of the last 5 years, first overall pick for this franchise. Which leads me to a bold fact, JoJo.
Okay.
A bold fact. There's been 4 teams that have chosen back-to-back number 1 overall picks in the history of the league. 4. Can you name them?
I'm going to jump in immediately.
Other than the Jags.
Yeah.
So there's 3.
I'm going to jump in immediately and say Cleveland.
That's going to be a big no.
Cincy.
Another big no.
Indy.
Another big no.
Dang. Trying to think of teams that... I know Indy's had a bunch of number 1 picks, but you're saying...
Just think of god-awful teams in the NFL.
Detroit?
No.
Yeah, Detroit had a couple of back-to-back 3s. Arizona, back-to-back top 3s. The Giants, the Jets.
Think South and West.
South? Is it South and West or Southwest?
South and West.
Because Houston drafted...
Bro, listen to what I'm saying again. You're in Jacksonville. Think South and West.
Tampa Town.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I just thought you meant the United States.
Not once.
Yeah.
But twice.
Yeah, okay. I cannot remember.
76 and 77 and 86 and 87. If you get the other one, I might even just give you a fresh $100 bill.
Yeah. Well, gosh, are there other teams that have sucked that bad? The 76 and 77 makes sense with Tampa Town because it was an expansion team that didn't get the luxury of picks that Carolina and Jacksonville did. Kansas City.
No. You'll never get it. I'll just give it to you.
All right, who is it?
1936 and 37. The Eagles.
I have no shot at that one. But so Tampa did it, and it was an expansion team. And I was just trying to think of any other teams that have put themselves in that position. Like I said, there have been a bunch that have been the top 3 back-to-back years. Detroit, the Giants, Arizona, a lot of those teams have had to deal with that. But number 1 picks, and again, this is historical 3.
Bro, 3 in 5 years that's dangerous about being like the worst ever franchise of any professional sport.
Yeah. Well, the other part of it is that if you're
bordering right there on that edge.
Oh yeah, if you do have 3 number 1 picks in a 5-year period, and the same guy is making the selection, you really got a problem.
You cannot make that pick.
Right, you've really got a problem, and so that's why I have signaled a salvo to Shad is that you better not let the same guy that has allowed this to happen and put this roster together and had this performance level go from what was so promising to the armpit of the NFL, you can't let that guy make the next selection. So here's Kareem, and we'll use this as part of the takeaway pertaining to the Jags. I would like to see some of the current talent we have under a different coaching staff. We blast this staff for not drafting / signing free agents that's any good. Well, can we really expect the same stuff to develop? And this is the chicken or the egg, Kareem. We will never quite know the answer until everything is fixed. Detroit is not asking the question as to whether they're more successful because of the coach or the GM. You follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
They're not saying who gets more credit because both get credit. The players that Brad Holmes draft are players that Dan Campbell's coaching staff develops. So both sides have won. You can do this with Pittsburgh and Baltimore and San Francisco, the successful teams over time. Meanwhile, this team or the other failing franchises, you can't 100% blame the players and the guys selecting or the coaching. You can't. It's just too hard to figure out. But this much I will agree with as far as what Kareem's saying is that this coaching staff, based on what we have seen, has not put people in the right position and had them playing at an intensity level and an organized level like they should. They have not.
Joe,
they have not.
If you're looking at
they have failed.
If you're looking at NFL teams that fail, 9 times out of 10, there's always an outlier where something crazy happens, but 9 times out of 10, it's because they draft poorly.
But I always feel like good coaches become great coaches when they've got good to great players.
Yeah.
And you have to have great players.
I
You can
totally
coach your
agree.
fanny off. Now, there are some that are successful. The old classic line Spurrier would use is, I can beat you with ours or I can beat you with yours.
Bum Phillips on Don Shula's, what that is.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go however far back you want to go because that's it. You know, I can beat you with Yorn or whatever.
His with Yorns and Yorns with his.
Yeah, and so he was old school when he said it, but most of those guys feel that way. I'll take my players and beat you, or you give me your players and I'll beat you. But it all has to come together. Organizationally, this team needs to have an identity, a blueprint, a belief, a demand, and you can go on and on and on. And then you actually have to have coaches that bring players, once they step foot onto your property, you make them better. Now, I know we've used Detroit this week in so many different examples. I know that when Brian Branch arrived, he was good. When Jameson got there, same thing. You can go on and on with Jahmyr Gibbs and all these other guys. But David Montgomery is a great example. David Montgomery was signed as a free agent that was basically left for dead in Chicago. Not all his fault, but a bad offensive line and a lot of bad direction. He comes to Detroit, and this guy is running with an intensity level that makes him look almost as big and dangerous as Derrick Henry because of what they either coach or preach. And so there's
also philosophy in how you want to put together a team. I can guarantee you, if this franchise drafted Branch, okay, they'd have played him at corner. He's not a corner. He's a safety. Remember, I was saying that for 3 months prior to that draft. He is not a corner. He's a safety. They would have stuck him at corner, and he'd be a guy that we were like, he can't cover anybody.
Yeah. Well,
we're 4 years into it, and he can't cover anybody.
But that's personnel and the coach.
Yes, it's philosophical decisions.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's like philosophically they decided we're going to go get a receiver instead of fortifying the offensive line, and we're going to double down on this offensive line that was terrible.
Yeah. Well, I maintain that you could have done both.
Both, right?
Yeah.
You could have gone back in, but no. Well, you can't because you know what? And this, first off, here's another thing too. As soon as he publicly said no one would trade with us, that's when he should have been fired.
Well, yeah, and that was 2 drafts ago.
Who says that?
Yeah, that was at least 2 drafts ago.
No, that was like this past draft.
No. It was 2 drafts ago.
Was it 2?
Yeah. And by the way,
who says no one will trade with us? What does that even mean?
There's so many things that we can shoot holes in. Trent Baalke, like you have a quarterback love to you. We always joke about it.
I do, yeah, because it's the most important position. It's everything.
He had the linebacker love. He's drafted. He moved up in the first round to get one, and then went and got another one as his next draft pick.
Right.
And then came back the next year
got another one
and
the fourth.
his first defensive player was a linebacker. And so you go on and on and on.
Who's a pretty good player, by the way, Ventrell Miller.
Yeah, Ventrell, but
the other two, not so much.
But let me go back to the other very obvious point here, which we have made consistently on this show. It's one thing, and I agreed with the idea that they didn't sign Calvin Ridley, and I think most Jaguar fans out there would be thankful that they didn't waste their money on Calvin, and that they said, we need to identify the best receiver that we can get our hands on and go get him.
A great pick.
And so that was a great pick. But you don't follow that with a former ACL injury on a player that did not play well on a bad defense in Mason Smith.
By the way, where is he?
With your 48th pick overall. You do not do that. I said it then. I'll say it forever. Okay? I loved the idea when he was healthy and young, and I said he's so big, he's got 2 A's in his name. He wasn't the same
As a
Tiger.
freshman, he was dominating.
Yeah, it was not the same Tiger.
No, in both years.
Yeah, and they plucked. Anyway, you could have done receiver in the first round, lineman in the second round, and kept going in that direction. Just think of where they went as opposed to that. They did not go in the direction that you wanted them to. 2 of their first 4 picks were linemen from a bad defense at LSU. Jordan Jefferson included with Mason Smith. And then you just go down the line. Jarian Jones, while promising, definitely not a dominant player.
Well, here's another thing.
I like him.
It's okay to trade away future picks, especially if your window's closing, which it was the last 2 years.
This guy thinks he's going to be here forever.
And now now that window's just slammed shut, baby.
Yeah. Well, I never, ever, ever would have imagined 2 years running he would have drafted double-digit players as opposed to improving his draft position.
No one trade with him.
And trading away. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we all know how we feel. That's for sure. It needs to end. It needs to be gone. That's for sure. All right, so I just want to just lay this out here right now because I am seeing this on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Joe C. Browns did go back-to-back, Garrett and Mayfield in 17 and 18.
I just cleared out of that.
I don't even need to fact-check it. I'm just going to say that's 100% the truth.
Hang on, I just cleared out of this story.
And as many times as you hammered me with my bold facts.
If that's the case, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so, because I kind of remembered the Browns being one of those teams that were in that position.
They did go back-to-back, right?
I know Mayfield came in 18, and I know Myles Garrett was a number 1 pick overall. And you're looking because 16, I believe, was Goff and Jameis. 15
teams with back-to-back. This is the sporting news now, okay?
Yeah, well, just go with the Cleveland Browns first-round draft picks, please. That's all I really need to see right now, because right now it's winner, chicken dinner right now. All right, Browns draft number 1 as we get ready to get out.
Now I got another one. I've got another thing. Now this is not even a real website. I don't know what this website is. They say the Bengals 94-95.
Mm-hmm. I knew I had the Bengals and the Browns were the first 2 that I mentioned.
The Browns 99-2000.
Mm-hmm.
And 2017 and 18.
Yeah, they had done it more than.
By the way, Sporting is having some problems.
Yeah,
FYI.
Okay, so anyway, set that aside. 17 and 18, Garrett and Mayfield. Thank you very much to our XL Primetime audience. We know what's up.
I do, by the way, fact-check you all the time. I'm glad you did me. Well done. Well done.
Finally, I was able to do something thanks to the Primetimers because I kind of had that feeling, but I wasn't sure. All right, we are done. We say thanks to Corona. Get you a cold one. Start your weekend the way we do on a Thursday instead of a Friday. We love it. We always have a good time. We'll be back at 2 tomorrow, cranking it out as we get ready for what should be a great college football Saturday. And an NFL Sunday without your Jags, but doesn't mean there won't be plenty of ball games being played that we will get into. That's all tomorrow on XL Primetime. You got the Frangie Show coming up next.
You guys wouldn't figure it out.
Winners get washed.
Yeah, we suck right now, so I don't.
It wasn't you.
No.
Okay.
The way I look at it, they got what they deserved. And it should have been worse.